What's up, guys? Well, we've been pretty bad at this lately. When we did our playoff predictions for the 2017 NFL season 2 years ago, we had the Green Bay Packers defeating the Oakland Raiders in Super Bowl 52. Newsflash, we were way off. The Packers went 7-9 and missed the playoffs. The Raiders were a mess and finished 6-10, barely avoiding a last place finish in the AFC West. A year later, we got closer. We correctly predicted a New Orleans Saints vs. Los Angeles Rams NFC title game. We also predicted the Jacksonville Jaguars defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship game. So we were way off there. Our final projection? The Jaguars would defeat the Saints in Super Bowl 53. Oops, at least we were almost half right. In compiling our 2019-2020 NFL playoff bracket and Super Bowl 54 showdown, we decided to try and be smarter. That is, we're not picking teams with a high risk of failing. We've locked in our Super Bowl 54 pick, which you hopefully won't laugh at. Here's to a good season, everybody. It's time for us to reveal our fun but always way off NFL playoff predictions for the 2019 season. Come back in January and February and remind us how we did. Hopefully it was good. Make sure to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos all the time. New videos all the time. Comment your video ideas down below. We'll be looking. If we choose your idea, we'll give you a shout out in the video. For starters, let's reveal our playoff teams before addressing the bracket. In the AFC, we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts missing out this time. In the NFC, we have the Dallas Cowboys and Seattle Seahawks falling short of sneaking in again. According to our super accurate calculations, there will be 4 new playoff teams in 2019. AFC East, New England Patriots. AFC North, Cleveland Browns. AFC South, Houston Texans. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs. Wild card, Los Angeles Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers. NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles. NFC North, Green Bay Packers. NFC South, New Orleans Saints. NFC West, Los Angeles Rams. Wild card, Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons. Now let's get into it. Okay, wild card round AFC. Cleveland Browns 3 vs. Pittsburgh Steelers 6. The offseason darlings will live up to the hype and book their first postseason berth since 2002. An explosive offense led by Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jarvis Landry will take the Browns to new heights. And they'll barely hauled off the longtime division bully Pittsburgh Steelers for an AFC North crown. Meanwhile, Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin prove they don't need Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell as the Steelers come through a drama-free season, earning double-digit wins to secure a wild-card berth. Fittingly, the Browns' last playoff game in 2002 was a wild-card loss to the Steelers. This time, the Browns return the favor. Myles Garrett will disrupt Big Ben and the passing game all day long, while Mayfield overcomes a shaky start in his playoff debut, leading the Browns to a thrilling 27-24 victory. Houston Texans 4 vs. Los Angeles Chargers 5. Prior to Andrew Luck's retirement, we had the Indianapolis Colts winning the AFC South here. Instead, Deshaun Watson and co. defend the division crown and book a home date against Philip Rivers and the powerhouse Los Angeles Chargers. This will mark the very first playoff meeting between the two clubs, and the first Watson vs. Rivers showdown. Even though Houston has home advantage, the Chargers are unquestionably the better team here. The Texans secondary will be exposed by Rivers and the receiving duo of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Meanwhile, the Chargers pass rushing combo of Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa will get to Watson, who stuck behind one of the league's worst offensive lines. Desmond King and company shut down Hopkins and leave Watson scrambling all day. For the second straight year, the Chargers advance with a road win in the wildcard round. Let's give it a final score of 23-16. NFC, 3 Philadelphia Eagles vs. 6 Atlanta Falcons. This will mark the 4th postseason meeting between the Eagles and the Falcons since 2002. Philadelphia won them all, including the 2004 NFC Championship game and the thrilling 2017 NFC Divisional Round, en route to their Super Bowl 52 title. The Eagles barely squeaked out a 15-10 victory over Atlanta in their previous playoff meeting, but this will be very different. Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan both have plenty of elite game-changing weapons on offense, and neither defense will be able to do a whole lot of anything in this one. But ultimately, it's hard to bet against a team that's just 2 years removed from a title, whereas the Falcons have fallen short in the postseason time and time again. Wentz and the Eagles prevail with a 30-27 victory. 4 Green Bay Packers over 5 Chicago Bears. The Bears and Packers open the NFL's 100th anniversary season in Week 1, so it'd be fitting if they met again in the playoffs. After consecutive losing and non-playoff seasons, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will be back at full force in 2019. New head coach Matt LaFleur will help Rodgers construct a revived offense that should take the league by storm yet again, and the Packers defense will do its share as well. By the slimmest of margins, the Packers will dethrone their arch rivals as NFC North champions. But can Rodgers and the Pack get past a defense that allowed the fewest points last season? It's tough to bet against Khalil Mack after all, but Rodgers is very difficult to beat on his own turf, and the Bears always seem to get embarrassed at Lambeau Field. So with all due respect to Matt Nagy and the Bears defense, we have to give this one to the Cheeseheads. Packers advance with a 2017 victory. Let's go on to the divisional round. Divisional round AFC. 1 Kansas City City Chiefs versus 5 Los Angeles Chargers. These two AFC West foes have only met once in the postseason, and that was back in 1992, won by the Chargers. Last year, KC and LA had the top 2 records in the AFC, but the Chiefs narrowly won the division on a tiebreaker. Well, here we go again. Philip Rivers and Patrick Mahomes split the season series last year, and they promised to deliver another epic quarterback duel in January. No defense could truly stop Mahomes last season, but the Chargers certainly had the playmakers on defense to keep him in check. The Chiefs' rebuild defense should be better equipped under new defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. We think both defenses will make a handful of big plays, but it's hard to bet against Mahomes on his own turf. He'll get the ball last and lead Kansas City to a close 24-20 victory. And with that, Rivers suffers another heartbreaking playoff defeat. Mahomes and KC reach the AFC title game for a second straight year. 2 New England Patriots versus 3 Cleveland Browns. Mayfield and the Browns will have taken that first step by winning their first playoff game during the wildcard round. Now they have to try and knock off a mighty and seemingly unstoppable New England Patriots, who will be aiming for their 4th straight Super Bowl appearance. Could this be like the '92 NFC title game, where the Dallas Cowboys defeated the San Francisco 49ers on the road, which began a changing of the guard for NFL supremacy? Could Mayfield upset Brady and the Pats dynasty and begin a dynasty of his own in Cleveland? Now, too early. Bill Belichick will probably be grumpy about his firing from the Browns over 2 decades ago. Mayfield will be confused and frustrated by the different looks Belichick's defense throws at him, and the Patriots earned their 9th straight AFC Championship game appearance. We'll give it a final score of 31-17, and with that, the Pats and Chiefs will meet in the AFC title game for a 2nd straight year. NFC, 1 New Orleans Saints versus 4 Green Bay Packers. This will mark the first ever postseason meeting between the Saints and Packers. Finally, Drew Brees versus Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game. Can't wait. Obviously, the Saints are sick and tired of heartbreaking postseason losses. First, the Minneapolis Miracle, then the horrendous no call in the NFC title game against the Rams. Well, the Saints sure look like the team to beat heading into 2019. Their dominant front 7 should get to Aaron Rodgers, and Marshawn Lattimore will be able to take away Devontae Adams and thus force the Packers' offense out of rhythm. The Packers' defense will give them a fighting chance, but Brees, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara will do just enough to help the Saints earn another trip to the NFC title game. We'll give it a 23-17 final. 2 Los Angeles Rams versus 3 Philadelphia Eagles. This should be quite the doozy. 2 of the league's most prolific offenses square off in LA. It's also a battle of the top 2 picks from the 2016 draft. The game may be quite personal for Mr. Wentz. He tore his ACL during a road game against the Rams in 2017, ending what should have been an MVP season. Nick Foles assumed the starting role and led Philly to a Super Bowl, while Wentz watched them from the sidelines. The Eagles, led by Foles, stormed into LA in Week 15 last season and came away with a 30-23 victory. Clearly, Doug Peterson gets the better of Sean McVay. Well, we're not expecting things to change here. Goff looked quite shaky in all 3 playoff games last year, and the Eagles know how to confuse him. In the meantime, Philly's elite O-line should be able to keep Aaron Donald in check, thus allowing Wentz and his tremendous group of pass catchers to expose the Rams secondary. The Eagles come away with a monumental 30-20 victory and get back to the NFC Championship game. Conference Championships, AFC. 1 Kansas City Chiefs versus 2 New England Patriots. Same teams, same stage, same venue, different result? The Chiefs and most NFL fans certainly hope so. Last year, the Chiefs scored 31 second-half points and were on the verge of reaching their first Super Bowl in half a century. But Dee Ford's costly offside penalty nullified a game-ending interception off Tom Brady. The Patriots went on to win in overtime, en route to their 6th Super Bowl championship. The Chiefs' crushing loss cost a lot of people jobs. Defensive coordinator Bob Sutton was fired, and Steve Spagnuolo replaced him. Franchise favorites Justin Houston and Eric Berry were released. Ford was traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Kansas City brought in Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu to replace their departed veterans. There's the same old Pats here, except KC won't have to worry about Rob Gronkowski this time. After a gut-wrenching loss and painful lesson, the Chiefs should finally make it work this time around. Not sure Tom Brady will avoid being sacked again by the resilient pass rush, and Mahomes won't be shut out for an entire half on his home turf again. And the Chiefs will hopefully avoid taking careless penalties like they did 1 year earlier. This time, Kansas City avenges last year's heartbreak with a 27-23 victory. NFC, 1 New Orleans Saints versus 3 Philadelphia Eagles. The Saints barely held off the Eagles in the NFC divisional round last year. Philly was on the verge of pulling off the big upset, but Nick Foles' pass for Alshon Jeffrey bounced right off the latter's hand and right into Marshawn Lattimore for the game-sealing pick. This time the Eagles will be led by Carson Wentz, who had to miss the postseason with a back injury. Can the Saints' defense account for an offensive juggernaut that added Deshaun Jackson, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Miles Sanders, and Jordan Howard in the offseason? Even if they can't, the Saints still have Brees, Thomas, Thomas and Kamara, who all had big games against the Eagles. On paper, these two teams are very evenly matched, but it's hard to bet against the Saints on their own field. They've only lost one home playoff game in the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era, and that was because of a terrible no call, plain and simple. This will be a thrilling back and forth contest with a roller coaster of emotions for both teams. We expect a lot of drama, but this time, Will Lutz kicks the game-winning field goal at the end of regulation to send New Orleans back to the Super Bowl. Final score, 30-27. Super Bowl 54. New Orleans Saints vs. Kansas City Chiefs. This should have been the Super Bowl 53 meeting in Atlanta last year, but oh yeah, the missed PI call and the Hall D Ford offside thing. Right. Anyway, the Saints and Chiefs will have both avenged heartbreaking defeats from last year and set up an epic showdown in Miami. Brees and Mahomes fought hard for the MVP award last season, but the latter wound up winning it by a landslide. Of course, neither guy cares about individual awards. Mahomes wants his first of what should be multiple Super Bowl rings. Brees wants to add the second one before his illustrious career comes to an end. Also, future Hall of Fame inductee Andy Reid would love to win his first Super Bowl ring after all those years of heartbreak. Could this be the year he finally pulls through? In the meantime, Sean Payton would love to win his second ring while he has Brees under his guidance. Both teams have a handful of big-time playmakers on defense, but ultimately, this should all be offense, which we're all in for. Last year's defensive slugfest of a Super Bowl was so boring, but experience will be key here, and Brees obviously has more than Mahomes. They'll find the weaknesses in Kansas City's secondary, while Cameron Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore will come through and make the big stops against Mahomes. And with that, the Saints will break through and add a second Super Bowl before the end of Brees' career. They'll end the painful memories of those last two playoff losses. Brees has a signature game and takes home Super Bowl MVP honors after leading the Saints to a 34-30 victory. Who do you think will win Super Bowl 54? Join me in the comments section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every week. No, I don't. I try to. Whatever. Anyway, subscribe. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos all the time. New sports content all the time. Subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. If you didn't like it, maybe just still give it a like because that would be a nice thing to do. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.